Hey guys, welcome to Slightly Impaired. I'm going to be one of your hosts. My name's Aaron.
What's going on, guys? I'm Spencer. I'm the secondary host slash other host. That's another word for it.
Man, if there was a word for co-host that wasn't co-host, we would have figured it out by now, but we haven't.
I'm
So
Seacrest.
don't question what we do. Uh, show's called Slightly Impaired, and we're going to be talking about random topics and conversations, pieces in history, pretty much anything we can think of that we want to talk about. And I know what you're
That's
saying.
not a lot.
I know what you're saying. A lot of people talk about a lot of stuff. We're not them, so I don't care. So, enjoy the ride because you're going to be hearing some opinions that may not be for the best people, but they're for me because I love them. But we're going to start off with a good question my friend Mr. Spencer asked, and it is right here. Do you want to read it for us, Spencer, or you want me to read it off?
Yeah, let's go ahead and read it. So, I believe the question was something to the effect of full education on drug use. So basically, it's asking is, would it be beneficial to have a healthier relationship with drugs if we were explained to as kids? Oh, sorry, I don't know what's going on my end with this. My computer's freaking out while I'm trying to talk. um, yeah. So I was basically trying to ask
If we were introduced
whether
to them in a healthy
a
way, if we could would have understand, do you think it would affect the outcome of just like the percentage of people, or more like just personally?
well, I mean, in turn, it would affect all of us
Well, yeah, as
if it
individual.
affects certain people personally.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's basically what I'm trying to ask is how beneficial is it to have full education on drug use?
I think it's actually more important than people realize. So honestly, I mean, I was first introduced to drugs and Spencer the same way through the DARE program that was across the U.S. And I think that was like what fourth, fifth grade, and then in sixth, seventh grade they kind of did it more.
Yeah, so
But I think the mannerism in which we were introduced to it wasn't the best way, and it wasn't educational. It was more out of fear, and fear doesn't prompt anything but people to investigate. Honestly, if you've ever seen a fucking horror movie, they're in a scary cabin. Some idiot goes, "I heard a noise. I gotta go that way." We're gonna check out whatever we want because we're humans. We're pretty stupid half the time, but we get cards to throw around, so it's pretty cool. But I think, in my opinion, like the first time I ever actually saw a drug had to be like I was 15 or 16, and like it was marijuana, which I'm pro advocate completely, and I believe it helps. I believe it should be used in recreation and not consistently on a non-stop period. But don't get me wrong. If you're having a day off, you want to go bullets to the wall, go fucking stone your bone, okay? But there's times where you don't need to smoke and you don't need to drink, and I think that's what usually gets people in a bad spot. But for like marijuana, I mean, I was introduced as a child, kind of like a teen, preteen, and you know, I was just shocked that like what I had been told up until that point was like I'm gonna see colors and this and that, and it's a big illusion. And I was also raised primarily Pentecostal, so drugs, alcohol, anything ungodly, that was a no no. Just in general, it wasn't having it because Jesus does not like Netflix. I've learned that one. Uh, but what I do know is that I've never had a problem with marijuana, and I feel like as long as you're responsible with it, it doesn't hurt you. But I don't think anyone under the age of 16 should be smoking it just because of development issues. I know technically we don't stop until we're like 23, but I think it's it's more important for children to primarily absorb education and get that in because like I know so many lyrics to songs, but I couldn't tell you how to add and divide properly. And I don't want to blame marijuana, but it definitely has been a big part of my life. And you know?
Yeah, I mean, we'll tell you straight up, we're not a couple of, geniuses or
Listen,
anything like that.
we're
So.
a bunch of country bumpkins just trying to make it out in the big city of this hustle, and I think sometimes it's harder for us because unfortunately I can't read properly. I try, and then my brain. I'm not dyslexic or anything. I'm just kind of stupid, and like
Yeah, that comes with the country life.
comes with the humble beginnings I come from, and it's just kind of like we're from Louisiana, by the way. Poorest state, worst in education, worst in fat people, worst in drug use and gambling, and has pretty high gang tolerance. So, Louisiana for life, living it up. But
Yeah, man, for sure.
I think, listen, that's home to me. Um, I would die for that state. That's where I was born
That's
and raised.
amazing.
I'm gonna die here. But I think it's just wild because if we were properly educated to a lot of things, I think it would have saved time and it would have saved confusion. And on top of that, it would have saved the sneaking around from parents and stuff. Because I remember, I remember the first time I ever got in trouble with marijuana, and that was a whole ordeal in itself. Because the funny part is, it wasn't even mine; it was my brother's. Actually, it was my brother's girlfriend's, and we were gonna smoke, and then someone got mad, and they fucking threw it in my Kylo Ren lunchbox because I'm a Star Wars nerd, and didn't tell me. And it was sitting on my dresser, and 2 weeks goes by, and then I'm at work, and my brother calls me, and he's like, "Hey, heads up, 7 Up. Daniel's digging through the room and found your pot." And I'm like, "I don't have any pot. What are you talking about?" And they were like, yeah, you do. And I was like, no, I don't. And Patrick's like, oh shit, that is Ambria's. That's not yours. And I was like, well, I guess I gotta deal with that shit. And I went home, and they're freaking out on me, going off, and I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. And then, they were more upset with the cigarettes they found too, because I was smoking them Marlboro Reds, 17 and getting that cancer early in life. But, asking for it. It got me cowboy killers. But I got me some cowboy killers, boy. But it's just it's kind of wild. Just, I think if we were properly educated and kids were informed in a proper way instead of fear, in more of just acknowledgement, maybe, when they hit 14, 15 would be the best time, because they're not necessarily concerned with that stuff until they get older. But I definitely think anybody shoving any kind of program in a kid's face, especially one that has to do with that, it's not necessarily going to go the best manner, especially whenever these kids are in 4th and 5th grade and they don't know what the hell is going on or what you're talking about, because they're more concerned with the fact that their chair back has a little rip in it than it is the fact that, people are doing meth in the streets. But
True. Yeah, that's very true. I mean, really, the way I've always thought about it is, you got to think about child psychology, or just adolescent psychology.
yeah,
What kids really want the forbidden. That's just a huge thing with adolescence. And I mean, it tapers off for some people in adulthood, but a lot of them, they never stray away from that. But see, I think this is the best way to go about it. You make it as lame as you possibly could. You just make it sound so dull and boring. Kids are like,
Meth
that's
is for losers. What you want to do is grab you one of these vape pens, kids. 5% nicotine works the best.
That's it.
You like?
No, I mean,
you like grape flavor? Dude, there's so many. It's wild. But I mean, I guess, drugs, not necessarily that is the biggest thing with children. I mean, kids are always going to experiment and drink and stuff. Not that they should, hashtag stay in school, be cool. But I think what's even more wild is the amount of candy and shit we pump out to kids. And no one ever thinks about that. The percentage of just how many people are diabetic in the U.S. alone from literally causing themselves to be.
Yeah, there's a lot of drugs. There's a lot of drugs that people don't see as drugs. and we just kind of ignore it. Caffeine being probably the most prevalent in our nation, at least.
Oh yeah, dude. It plays such a. You know how many people there's. Starbucks makes so much money because some white girl somewhere says, "It's 7:30 in the morning. I need a frappuccino right now."
Can I get a mocha decaf?
Excuse me, there's no almond milk in this skim? I'm gonna lose it. And it's just like, it's wild. Because if it's not that, it's kids texting or like, and anything can be an addiction. I understand that. But I think definitely for harm's sake and stuff, like, I guess, you know, saying stuff's pretty lame would be a good way to put at it. But, you know, like, if you're gonna scare them, show them the truth. Don't do like the wild shit where like cockroaches are crawling out of their face and stuff, and that be like, this is what a meth head looks like. How did they get here? They were doing pretty well. Explain it, because everybody's a person, and if you understand and try to make a connection, you can see where people get and how they end up in that situation, which always helps because we can try to help each other as humans. But it's just,
I mean, I feel like that's the way they described it to us in a way, but they just went about it. I mean, I'm obviously joking when I say that. They just really sucked at it. I'm joking when I say they should make it lame. I mean that in a sense of like whenever, say like, I don't know, your parents.
In a way, like,
yeah, no, not even discouraging it. Like when your parents are really into something, and you're like, wow, that's stupid. Yeah.
You don't like going shopping for China. You wouldn't like meth. It's not the same. And the kid's like, oh, dang it, I hate when I have to go to the doctor. They're like, going to the doctor is like doing heroin. You just don't want to go. And that's it.
Go to Eastern medicine.
You don't want to vaccinate your children. Heads up, it's all a big scam. Jeez. That's a whole, not that we have to talk about that, but like, why are there so many different COVID vaccines? I don't get it. Because, like, I've never heard of 3 different polio vaccines. They might have had trial runs, and I get that. But the government's, like, pumping out these vaccines, and people... The fact that someone had to tell me that they got a first shot of a vaccine and then a second one, why is my vaccine coming in 2 different doses?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't understand that.
It's really weird. I mean... So I just looked it up. The first polio vaccine was administered large scale in 1954. So that means it was the president.
919. It's at the very top on the 3rd story. Give me 1 second, I'll run out there. Okay. So you might have passed it already. Whenever you first pull into the complex, you go left immediately, and it's going to be the first big set of buildings on your right-hand side. Go.
Yeah, it's a hungry boy.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Spencer, I'm going to pause this real quick. Okay, so it's a weird little transition here. Y'all won't notice it, but... I want to explain what the fuck just happened because I'm triggered as a human and an American. So, you know, I like my wings. Who doesn't like some good wings? Spicy wings, sweet wings, barbecue wings? Doesn't matter. I ordered through DoorDash, and I ordered a combo, and you know, it got here, and the chicken was cold first off, which I've never complained about that. But the fact that I paid for a combo and I didn't get my fries. And normally, like if it's McDonald's, I don't give a fuck about the fries. But these fries slap. And all I wanted was my fries with my combo. So I called up apparently, by the way, It's Just Wings is by Chili's. Didn't know that, found that out a few seconds ago. And what they told me was, oh, well, you just need to talk to DoorDash. So I called DoorDash, they gave me a little refund, I sent it in, and I called Chili's to be like, hey, they didn't just send an order for some fries, I wanted y'all to know if y'all can just throw the ones that were supposed to be with my order in the other order that came through, and I'd be so grateful. And the guy was like, we don't deliver. And my first thought was, I didn't ask if you deliver, you dumb fuck. What I asked is if you could put the fries in the other thing. And of course, he just kind of goes, okay. I'm like, are you answering a phone? Do you not know how to talk to other humans? Maybe you needed that drug use class more than I do. You sound like a goddamn meth head. Sorry. That's my rant for 5 seconds. What were we talking about before?
We're talking about vaccines, I believe.
Oh shit! Why there's like 8 of them? Whenever it's all for the same disease.
Yeah, so I was doing a little bit of research while
You find it?
the wing fiasco was happening. Yeah.
What you got?
So, I mean, so basically, within the U.S., there's been 40 major vaccines, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first one was in the late 1700s, believe it or not.
And vaccines in general, like the actual.
Yes,
Oh, that's cool.
the very first vaccine throughout the world was done in the late 1700s, and in total, from 1796 or whatever it was, up until 2020,
Mm-hmm.
only 8 of them has been eradicated. Now, that is in the U.S., but I mean, the fact that there's been, what is it, like 3-4 different vaccine types for this one disease now? I mean, it seems odd, you know. I'm not really like dogging on the validity of it or anything, but
I'm not a
it just seems
mathematician, but something doesn't
weird.
add up.
Yeah,
Listen,
and I mean, you know, as we said, we're just a couple of country bumpkins, but
just some city boys.
yeah,
They ain't know nothing, boy. They come from the county. I come from the parish. But yeah. Hashtag still uses parishes. All right.
Yes, sir.
But what was our next question, or do we have one lined up?
Our next question after the drug education. Oh, it was about this question that I had wrote down a while back. It's about like life being rigged. Basically, it says, you know, throughout life, it seems to be a rigged game. If you play it well, you can turn your tokens in, leave the arcade, right? Well, once you leave the arcade, you can kind of choose how you want the game to be played instead of the game playing you. So I don't know if I should view this as like an individual perception, or should I view this as accurate to life?
Maybe. I think
Because we see that with billionaires. You see that with, you know, people that make it very far financially.
I mean, life is essentially just one big game, and it's all about who comes out on top. I think what a lot of people forget is everybody thinks, oh, why am I like this, why am I like that? The sheer determination and the ability to make yourself in this world, it's hard and it's a challenge. But the thing is, unfortunately, half of us end up caping out before we even get halfway done. And then we blame ourselves or we blame something around us and we find an excuse. But life is what you make it. And for anybody who says they can't do something, yes, you can. Is there going to be physical limitations? Of course. Sometimes something's harder for you to do than others. But that's why you have people to fall on. That's why you talk to people. But in all actuality, do you mean like... That's what I see it as. But whenever you say that, like, we play this game, do you mean like how... What's the best way to say it? How, like, it's rigged from the start. Like, regardless of what we do, we're all going to end up dying.
Essentially, I mean, it is rigged from the start for a lot of people. It's rigged from the start for people that grow up in ghettos. It's rigged from the start for people that grow up in,
when you can't
you know,
choose
India.
your environment, yeah, you don't get a choice, and that's just kind of where they're stuck. And I get that.
Yeah.
I get that sense of it. But I think, like, any American who's sitting on his couch, and shit, I mean, if you're listening to us right now, maybe you're doing this exact thing, and I thank you for it. But either way, I'm still going to talk trash. But it's just like, you're never going to amount to anything if you don't give the effort to do it. And that's in anything you do. And regardless of your stance on life, and if you think it's all sad or you think it's the coolest thing in the world, you just got to live it for yourself. Because at the end of the day, I know we were told as children that the world doesn't revolve around you. Well, It literally does. Life is about you. It's not about the guy next to you or the one next to you. Now, if you have kids, it's understandable, and your life becomes about them because you're giving a part of yourself, and that's a whole nother topic. But in general, you're supposed to live life for you, regardless of what other people think or say or do. You're supposed to be the one who comes out on top. And you just gotta remember, there's a lot of people in this world. You're not gonna be friends with all of them. So don't be upset when someone doesn't like you, because that's 9 times out of 10, someone's not gonna like you. You just kind of gotta deal with it. But it
I
is.
mean, yeah,
It is kind of
sure.
just left up to the individual, though. In the end, I mean, everybody's gonna have a preference, and everybody's gonna feel a certain way. But that's my 2 cents, even though I don't have 2 cents to my name.
Yeah, I got about a penny and a half, really.
Living on that poor man's diet, ramen noodles and Chili's wings that don't come with fries.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, what I think is, really, everybody's life is it is their own game. It is mostly about them. But at the same time, you get to choose what game it is. You get to choose, what is the thing that you're striving for? What kind of high score are you going for? Really, like what? There's no like one key to life. There's no
No.
hidden meaning.
And no one has the answers. I know everybody's gonna
No,
look to
don't trust
something for
anybody.
the answers, and everybody's gonna look for like an institution or something to rely on. The thing is, there's a lot of things in life and history that people will say will teach you lessons, but the number one thing people forget is that at the end of the day, everybody's got a different life and a different goal. And we're not all going to reach them the same way. That's why we have different ways to reach different things. You can look at one object a certain way and do it 1,000 different ways. It depends on what it is. But don't let someone's goal either discourage or not nourish. What's the word? Whenever a flame is put out, extinguish your goal. Don't let someone else's words discourage you, because at the end of the day, I do agree with Spencer though. It is, there's not one way to do it. And you just got to be happy in the way you find to do it. And you got to find the joys that are all around you. Because, I mean, it's going to be hard either way, so you might as well get a laugh out of it. I mean, whether or not you're crying in the shower, taking a drive, or counting sheep.
Eating cold chicken.
Or, eating a whole piece of raw chicken. Whatever makes you feel better. As long as you don't go to the hospital and complain about it, because you did that of your own accord. Now, we got another topic, Spencer, or do I need to read it?
Yeah, you go for it.
I'll go.
The next one's comedy.
It's comedy? Oh, that's my favorite part of life. So, I wrote this bad boy earlier, and I mean, it's kind of, not to say subjective, but like, at the same time, just kind of like, where's it? Okay. Comedy is seen as a platform in which you can talk about the topic, any topic at all, and you can do or think whatever you want, and there's supposed to be nothing that's off limits. Yet, is there anything that you consider to be off limits that actually has a reason or some kind of stance behind it? Because, I mean, I see it in a different way, because, like, I've had so much stuff happen in my life that I don't care how messed up it is. I have to find some kind of humor in it, because at the end of the day, everything's just a big joke anyway, so you might as well be laughing at it. Not to sound depressing, but it's what you make it. And if I gotta laugh to get through my day, then I'm gonna be fucking chocolate, boys. But how do you feel about that, Spencer?
Well, I mean, hey, it's definitely one of those, like, joys of life. Whenever somebody dies, whenever you're like having a bad day, whatever it is, whenever you drop your ice cream in the toilet, any type of joke, anything that can make you smile, it takes you out of this certain mindset. And I mean, I think it's truly like one of the most important things to being human, or just to being alive. And I don't think anything should be off limits because, regardless of who's going to be offended by it, they're just going to be offended by it no matter what the joke is.
Oh yeah, anybody, someone's always going to be offended, and that's the thing people don't realize is like, even if you like, if it's someone thinks the sky's purple and you say the sky's blue because it's fucking blue outside, someone's going to argue with you because they have to make sure their point gets across, and that they're heard, and that's kind of selfish in a way because you're depriving everybody of the joke, or you're depriving everybody of the atmosphere that they came to see. They came to enjoy themselves and get away and laugh. Because if pain is existence, laughing's the way to, deal with it. Because at the end of the day, everybody's going to laugh about something. Even if you get home, you put your keys up, you think of something that happened today, you get a little chuckle out of it. You're laughing. There's so many instances in every day that are comedic. And it's just wild because, I mean, half the people have some kind of critique. There's something behind it. Like, I'm sure, like, Anthony Jeselnik, great comedian, he makes really, really, really fucked up jokes. And the thing is, he doesn't care because he's doing it for the comedy. He gets away with it because that's his style. And people pay to go see that. They don't pay to go hear some girl who has an opinion about the stance on some stage or some stature coming through. They don't go to hear some guy tell about what he did today, or that they came to hear something to laugh to get it off their mind. Because comedy eases burdens is what it tends to do. Because if you're filled with fear or angst, what do? Some people laugh instinctively because it's just they're releasing any kind of, and there's probably some kind of breakdown, honestly. The pheromones or what chemicals come out whenever you laugh. I'm going to look up really quick, but do you want to say something, Spencer?
Oh, no, keep going.
I'm trying to see what chemicals.
Oh, I mean, definitely dopamine, serotonin. You get a lot from it.
Yeah.
Epinephrine.
Fucking put my caps on.
As you can tell, we are actual pros at this. We don't play.
What can
no play.
So laughter releases the endorphins in the body, which is a natural feel-good chemical. Endorphins promote overall sense of well-being and can temporarily relieve pain. And that's why they say laughter is the best medicine, because it really is, dude. I've had so many instances where I've gotten smacked in the face from something, or I've been freaking hit by something, or just something, not to say stab me, but it sounds awful to say on a recording, but I've been jabbed by something, and like someone cracks a joke, and it immediately draws away from any pain I'm thinking about, because I'm laughing at the joke. Does it come back? Oh yes. Am I upset when it happens? Of course. But I like to get a little giggle out of my pain.
Right.
Is this the same man picking up my... Okay. So, to keep y'all updated, they gave me that refund, and I ordered it again. I did all that. And I think it's getting the same man to pick it up. And what's... I hate your orders on your way from just... This man better get up these stairs and be fucking furious. He literally... I've ordered from DoorDash so many times. I've never had to instruct somebody how to fucking get up to this apartment. Because they're all labeled by numbers. There's a 9 on the building. And I get that he's foreign, but like, he knows how much cigarettes cost, so I'm pretty sure he understands what the letter 9 is, even though it's a number, not a letter. I sound stupid. But just like the fact that I had to run down 3 stories and then run a little bit of a block to tell the guy, be like, yeah, this is 9, and he's like, oh, okay, and then just fucking hands me the food and jets off. Like, okay, it's kind of the service, but at the same time, fuck you. You're a piece of shit, and I hope your mom and your babies know that. But yeah, not that mattered anything to do with laughing, but I don't think comedy should have boundaries. And I get like, Maybe not on like the day of a tragedy, but even then it lightens a mood. And you know, Anthony Jeselnik made a good comment because he made that one about the Boston Marathon. He talked about how he would have lost his show if he wouldn't have taken it down. And like, I get that. You know, you have to be a reasonable adult sometimes. You have to know when you can crack a joke and when you can't. Some people cannot handle jokes. Some people can. And it sucks for the rest of us who understand that something is a joke and the one person who actually takes it as a real comment. Because it just throws off everybody else's vibe. And you know, before you're like, oh, what, you know damn well, you know a motherfucker who you'll be telling a joke and they just stare at you like they've never understood a word out of your mouth for the past 2 minutes. And then you say one word and they get fucking triggered and they have some kind of comment and you're like, this has nothing to do with you. Please don't make a comment. And if you have one, leave it on Twitter because everybody puts shit on Twitter and no one cares. But anyway.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. Might as well get.
No, I mean that's true. You speaking to
Speaking to the choir.
to what's his name over there trying to get your food?
No, he didn't answer. I think the same guy picked up my food. If he better walk up these stairs, because I swear to God, if he calls me again, and he's like, I don't know how to, I'm gonna lose it, bro. I'm gonna be like, you know damn well, because we just had this conversation. Don't you dare lie to me. You're a grown man. Because I will lose it. Oh, Mare looks really pretty in these sunflowers and stuff. Where's she at? CSU flower bed. Oh, it's in Colorado. Okay, I thought so. Nah, but yeah, man. What's the next question?
Oh, the next question.
And you know, if anybody is listening to this, thanks. If not, okay. But regardless, if you have like a question, I guess from me or Spencer, or you have a question that you want us to talk about, just kind of put it in the comments because like I guess I'll read one, and I know some people are going to be negative, some people are going to be positive. I prefer positivity, you know, just, you know, as a human. I prefer not to be called a piece of human trash or filth, but it's coming. I can feel it. But regardless,
Yeah, we are.
You know,
Not about that.
Our next topic is dinosaurs. And who doesn't like dinosaurs, okay? Now,
if you don't, there's something wrong.
You're probably a freak of nature if you don't like dinosaurs. And for those people who are already getting offended because I said that, that was directly meant for you. Just for you. And I hope it hurts your feelings because dinosaurs are the coolest things that were ever on this earth. They had scales. They had big teeth. They owned everything. And the ones who fucked with each other generally ate each other. So it wasn't a big ordeal. No one was concerned with how they look or what they feel like because they were just eating on some dino meat.
Guess what? They're still alive.
Dude, the crocodile is a dinosaur, bro. Alligators, they got some crazy things in this world. Oh, look, okay. This was the question I asked, though, about dinosaurs. I said, do you think dinosaurs ever had domestic disturbances? Do you ever think that, like, I don't know, two long necks are going at it, and there's fucking argument, and then, like, they have, like, a big boulder clashing together, and it's, like, the fucking sound of the Tyrannosaurus Rex coming to break it up. And then he gets there, and these dinosaurs are yelling at each other, explaining their situation. And then, like, instead of being like, he's got a gun, the T-Rex just goes for one of their fucking throats. That's it. That's the end of the movie. And you're like, but did they ever settle the domestic disturbance? No, because they're fucking dinosaurs. They don't have any. Their domestic disturbances, am I going to be alive today to eat some grass, or am I going to eat some meat? But also, do you think they had some kind of system in which they would work together and, like, to get a mutual objective? Because, I mean, like, okay, it's not Darwinism. It's, what's it called? Whenever, it's not a parasite. It's whenever one party, it might just be mutualism. Like, one party gains something as well as the other party, and some parties gain something, the other one does nothing. But there's not a negative impact, because there is those. But, like, do you think maybe dinosaurs had a systematic way, and there's so many breeds, dude, but, like, I'm sure there's a system in which certain dinosaurs would, like, work together in herds to fucking corral food, or, like, maybe cross objects. Couldn't tell you.
I mean, yeah, I would imagine so, just because of, the sheer fact that we have animals today that do that. One of the most interesting ones that I've ever heard of were dolphins in probably in like where is it, in the South Pacific, something like that, Southeast Asia. They have, or maybe it might be near the Keys somewhere. I'm not sure where it's at. Anyways, they have a very shallow body of water, and there's either fish or krill. Can't remember which one it is, but there's a lot of like built up silt on the bottom of this body of water.
Okay.
And they'll all gang up together and just give them this brigade of dolphins.
That's kind of wild. Okay.
Yeah, they'll surround all of the fish and basically like dust up all that silt to where it makes
like a wave
the fish
you can't see, like they're blind.
Yeah, it makes like a big barrier.
That's cool, and they basically
to where they can't see.
They're pulling a Roman move, bro. They're putting them into a little barrel, and they can't get out of that, and then they attack them and eat them.
It's a blind tactic.
It's wild though, because like mutualism, like if a crane lands on like a crocodile, and it picks off all this stuff on its mouth and all the fungus and all that, like that's crazy. And then like the sharks that'll have the little fish that stay with them, and they eat all the bacteria off of them. It's just like there's no way. Oh, it says dinosaurs did not communicate with each other, but we do not know what they sounded like. Some duckbills had a huge trumpet-like chest and probably blew loud, low rambling noises. Other members of the herd. That doesn't answer my fucking question, Google. Why would you even tell me that? I could have asked a 3-year-old for that. Google your slide.
Yeah, if you guys want to know of like probably the most terrifying animal to ever exist, even in present day, just go ahead and look up the shoebill, and you're gonna like that.
I got you guys. Don't even worry. Oh, that's a bird?
Yeah.
Why does he look so upset? Oh my god.
Dude.
He just looks
I don't know.
Angry.
Yeah, look at his feet.
I didn't even look at his feet. You really gonna make me type in feet? Oh, whoa. That's cool. Look at that, guys. He's got, look. Looks like a little T-Rex with no skin. They're not wet, though. That's the crazy part. For being a bird, especially, he looks like he'd be... Come on, just fucking go to the right. There we go. His feet aren't webbed at all. That's interesting. But are they domestically in the water, or are they, like... Interesting. Let's find out some information, guys. No, I don't care about Labor Day. I'm not wearing white, so don't talk to me like that. Shoebill stork. Let's see. Shoebill, also known as the whalehead or the whale-headed stork, shoebill stork. It's a very large stork-like bird, and it delivers its name from the enormous shoe-shaped bill that is somewhat like a stork overall. The previous classified storks, I'm not going to attempt to pronounce that word. I don't care about your apologies, DoorDash. I don't care. The adult mainly gray, while juveniles are browner, and they live in the tropical east. Okay. So they're down here in South America. Okay. What does their diet consist of, though? That's what I was trying to see. I don't care about taxidermy. Taxidermy. The description, blah, blah, blah. They weigh... They got a big fucking beak, though.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that guy. He's in Tokyo, just living his best life. Whoa, dude, I like that guy. He doesn't look mean at all in that photo. He looks like he's just minding his business. I like that guy.
Yeah, they're crazy.
Bro, that's wild. Yeah, but like, dinosaurs are pretty fucking rad, bro. They were here before us, and if the world ends... He sent me an image. I don't care about the image. What does that mean? Oh, he dropped it off. Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah, the call dropped.
The call dropped. Oh, cool. He did it. The call dropped. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. I'll be 5 seconds. I'm gonna run and go grab this from outside. Say freaking out? 'Cause I'm freaking out. I might be freaking out. Rolling down my windows, baby. I can't hear what you say. And I can hear me staring at you. Baby, do you think I'm doing something wrong? Now, look, this looks more acceptable. It's in the brown box that it's always in, and not a Chili's container, because I didn't pay for Chili's. I paid for Wingstop. Cool. I don't know what the fuck was up with that last order, but this order's bitching. Thanks, Heelys. Yeah, but what were we talking about?
We're just talking about
How cool
the shoe bill for a
was.
second.
He's a cool motherfucker.
Yeah.
Don't let nobody ever tell the shoe bill no. You'll end them.
No, the
Shoe bill.
instantly regret it.
The shoe bill doesn't take orders. All right. Next on the agenda, we got kid fights. Now,
Yes, sir.
I know what you are thinking. Are we going to talk about kids fighting? Are we going to talk about a fight with the kid? The question
Both.
Doesn't matter. The answer, you know. We're going to start running bets. Send in your money. My money is on the bigger kid, because he looks like he's going to eat the other kid. So don't even worry about it, guys. I got us covered. No, I think I was having... Oh. Who would win in a fight? With 2 children in a trench coat, or 1 small person? Hashtag smother me in your batch of Crisco. Now, I say little person out of respect, because I think that's the proper terminology. Because you're not supposed to say the M word anymore, but...
The what?
For little people, or whatever.
Little people? Oh man, I had this conversation with somebody the other day,
Little
and like,
Bill!
did we have that conversation? I don't remember. But I was trying to think. Like, I knew one guy back in high school that was fairly short. I don't know if he had like dwarfism or anything like that, but the term. No, it was a different guy that grew up on my street. Like, I don't know. As a little person seems very insulting to me.
I would think it would be. I think it'd be more demeaning than saying midget, honestly. Because, like...
Yeah.
Who wants to be called little? It just kind of pissed me off.
Yeah. It did the same for me, dude.
But I'm 5'9", so I'm not too upset in my life. But for all those people out there with dwarfism, I'm sorry. It's kind of suck. But I do enjoy roller coasters, and you know, they're kind of fucking great. But I would think, because I think it's going to be an adult little person fighting these 2 kids in the trench coat, but my thing is, like, are the kids in the trench coat pretty on sync. Because if they're in the sync, they can move pretty well and they can take him out. But if the little person has a fucking like a baseball bat or something, bro, they don't even have a chance. So it's just kind of all the setup. But personally, I'm going for the two little kids in the trench coat because that'd be fucking hilarious. Right.
Man, yeah, I'd probably say the same because I've always loved that. I always loved the little guy in the trench coat.
Dude,
Three little guys.
You just up to some shenanigans, bro. Pulling a little rascals on them.
Yeah. Pulling a Eric Andre on him.
Fucking, that man's wild, bro.
I don't trust like that.
I don't trust like that. I don't trust like that. I do love that one. Fucking trying to buy a car dealership. No, but we don't have to continue on that topic. That was just something I thought about. Tech. So, when we're talking about tech, there's a bunch of different conversations that can always be brought up. Like, a few of them that we were pointing at, mainly the ones I was trying to get at was like, tech, do you think it has become more of a gift or more of like a burden for the generation having, in the sense of like, any civilization that's gonna prosper is gonna develop technology and it's gonna become advanced. But I think the human race has gotten to the point to where we become so reliant on the technology that we've built that it's handicapping any kind of like physical abilities or any kind of trades, anything like that. People are just they're so into their technology they don't notice the world around them. And I think it's even scarier for like kids because they're growing up with this being the normal, like just 10 and 8-year-olds having phones and excuse me, and being able to just search things on the internet with no type of blocking or filter. And I mean, even if parents put one on there, kids are going to find a way to do what they want because they're kids. They're curious. And that's for anything. But what scares me is because I have little sisters and I have siblings. And there's things in this world that I don't want them to see. Not that I can stop them anyway, and they will be exposed to at one point. But I think it's like, it's crazy how desensitized we've become to certain things because it's just in our everyday face. Like, I love video games. I really do. And I play them, and but the thing is, like, violence has become desensitized to the point where, like, someone getting murdered doesn't affect people, and that's kind of scary in a way. Not that we should be screaming and freaking out, but at the same time, the fact that a life is being taken is something more than just, it's not a fucking video game. It's crazy. And I think for a lot of kids, especially nowadays, life is just going to hit so much harder whenever we have another crash or another disease comes or like, fuck it, dude, the end of the world's coming up. Kids don't know what to do because they've had their hands in fucking TikTok for so long that they don't know how the hell to build a fire or fucking figure out what source of water they can drink versus they can't. They don't know how to do things. And it's just, granted, some kids do, but it's just scary, man. We're getting to that point in life where, like, kids aren't even realizing the world around them.
Yeah, I mean, like Aaron, I have siblings too, and it's a really weird thing. I mean, mind you, we are fairly young. Like, we're not old guys or anything like that.
I'm old enough to buy my own Pampers, thank you very much.
Well, Aaron's old enough to shit himself in public, so
listen, what I do is my business, and I don't ask you about your private life.
Well, I'd like to keep it that way.
Listen, if someone wants to see me shit my pants, all welcome. You're gonna have to pay the $5 though.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It is definitely a weird thing though. Like, it's concerning.
I think it's just kind of wild because, like, it's crazy. Like, what we're doing literally right now is using technology. And not that I dropped my vape. Where'd it go? I found it. Okay. It's just kind of like me vaping right now. Not that that's the best choice, but I mean, shit, I'm doing it. It's just It's crazy because like as technology advances, like for like medical reasons and stuff like that, it's gonna get wild. Like where they're completely gonna be replacing some limbs with like cybernetics and shit. That stuff's coming. And like I don't know if necessarily we'll be able to like modify the human brain and stuff. I think that's a whole nother topic, and we could go at like the religious aspect of like you're playing God and stuff. I think there's certain things we're not supposed to mess with in this world. Not that there's actual like set limitations, but at the same time, you're not supposed to fuck with certain shit. And that's just kind of in general. Some things are not meant for people to be tampering with, and some people just don't know their limits. And it's crazy. It's going to bite them in the ass. But,
Yeah.
I'm a hypocrite, though, because until, the machines take over, because that's what I'm thinking. It's either going to be like a Terminator situation, or it's probably going to be... I don't think it'll be another meteor. I think that'd be kind of redundant of God to send out another meteor, unless, he's not going to flood the Earth, so, I mean, maybe we'll just all, like, disappear, like in the fucking Avengers. Just, like, kind of, poof, we're all ash. Either which way we end up dying. It's funny. It's like, we're all going to die anyway. And not to be negative, but, like, you can't fight that. You can't change it. And I get that, some people are like, I want to live forever and this and that, but why would you want to do that? You're given one life on this earth to enjoy it. And, you're supposed to do the best you can with it. You're supposed to have the best actions. You should be the best you can be, because there is no other you. And if there was, there wouldn't be you. And that's just, not that has anything to do with technology, what we're saying, but I think it's crazy, because we will get to the point, I feel it, because we're already at the point where, like, people do plastic surgery and that stuff, and I get it, like, if you have something wrong with your nose, or maybe you're a little upset with something, I get it. If you have the money, I don't have the money to change my appearance, and I'm kind of stuck with how ugly I am, so I just kind of take it as it is. But what I don't get is whenever people are naturally beautiful, and they think that they have to modify themselves or do something to stay beautiful. The body was not meant to live forever. We're made to live a certain point and then we wither away. And that's just the circle of life. And a lot of people refuse to come to terms with that fact. And I think it's going to end up biting them in the ass, because at the end of the day, they're going to be so freaked out with what they're doing or what's happening that they're not going to have a genuine human connection. But that's my 2 cents. Could be 3, but I can't afford it. These fries are pretty good. I'm going to stop eating them, though, because I think I'm going to get sick. Okay. I'm putting you away for now. Thanks, guys. You did your job.
Good job, guys.
Good job, guys. Thanks for being eaten by me. Thanks, potatoes.
You nailed it.
FYI, guys. Best vegetable ever on this earth. Potato. It's just so versatile. Listen, I love me some green beans. I love carrots. Squash is pretty good. But I will never, you hear me? I will never deny a potato. It is starch and it is ooey gooey goodness. You can slice them, you can dice them, you can fry them, you can saute them, you can put them on shit, you can put them under shit, you can stuff them in shit. Potatoes are the cream of the crop. And that's not to be redundant from corn, because corn is a natural cream of the crop.
It's creamy.
Listen, if I want to have cream in my corn, I will call the authorities. There's a problem going on here, and I need cream in my corn now. But potatoes are the lifeblood of America and Ireland and a lot of other foreign countries, because potatoes are actually, that's a cool topic on itself. Just the fact that, how many people potatoes have fed from famines and shit, because it's one of the easier things to grow, and they're pretty hardy generally. And whenever you plant one, they fucking spread like wildfire. And the amount of ways you can cook a potato is just, it's redundant. Because me and Spencer are both cooked for a very long time. And
bro, potatoes are insane. Yeah, there's one technique you can do that. I mean, if you want to just have like a mouth gargle or something like that, you definitely have to try it. It's an old, really, it's like an ancient preservation method for food. It's called confit. Me and Eric both know about this pretty well. We've had to deal with it before. But if you do confit potatoes. So confit meaning submerged in fat.
Oh, dude,
You
that's some good shit.
leave it overnight, or you leave it for a full day if you can. You can leave it for however long you want, really. And you just take those bad boys out and you fry them up in a skillet.
They got
It's
all
like
the flavor they've
the
been
best.
absorbing from the fat. Oh man.
Yeah.
Confeating anything. We were doing I don't think
We used to just do duck legs.
Dude, oh my god, I love duck legs in confit. Whenever you pull those things out and you throw them in like, so if you don't fry them, because I'm not a big fan of just frying shit all the time, but like if you put them in a hot skillet and you sear it, and you get it up to temperature and then you throw it in the oven, ooh, duck legs are so good. You got some rosemary with that boy. It's got the fat on it. It's cooked into it, and then you serve it with some potatoes. You can do red potatoes, but I like gold potatoes generally, yellow. But
yeah, they all have their own use, man.
And that's the thing, is there potatoes? There's so many. There's sweet potatoes. There's red potatoes. There's steak potatoes. There's so many types and sizes that you can use them. And even okay, so a cool thing, I can never remember the name of it, but you make a little patty with potato and you sear it on both sides and it's fried. And they used to serve it. It's not to say a hash brown, but it's called something specific. I would have to look it up. Just give me a second.
Potato pancake, my man.
Basically, there's a proper name for it, though. Pancake!
Pancake!
Well, everybody's just calling them potato pancakes. It's kind of upsetting. There's definitely a better word for that. I know there is. Because I was taught it, but my stupid ass forgets things all the time. Great grandmother's potato cakes. But just, and a lot of people have a lot of leftover potatoes because, like, you'll buy a bag and there's a shit ton in them. So you can literally use them, especially all you skinny boys and girls out there who are trying to put on some weight. Starches. I'm a big boy. Spencer, my man, is a skinny man, but one thing we do know is starches are the way to go if you're trying to gain some weight. And that shit will fucking get you.
Yeah, I was reading the article the other day. I mean, the reason the Irish didn't have, the worst time with the potato famine. It's pretty bad, but
wasn't my favorite.
Regardless. The reason is because potatoes are the most satiating carb known to man, really.
They're so good, dude.
Like it'll fill you up, man.
It's crazy, dude. It's like breads with starches. So any kind of starch is gonna fill you up. But potatoes, you telling me you're gonna pass up a bowl of mashed potatoes if they're freshly made? You're not. And if you are, it's
hot.
because you're a psychopath. And if you're a psychopath, go eat some potatoes so you're not a psychopath, okay? Learn how to live with it. Because potatoes, they're life. They fuel this nation. You know how many fat people are losing their god dang minds over that? I literally just got upset like 20 minutes ago because I didn't have my fries. And I don't even like fries. But it was the fact that I wanted them. That I had to have them. And I paid for them. So that was a whole other thing.
Listen, Aaron paid for them.
Listen, I get my fries the way I'm supposed to. I pay for them and a random man brings them to me. So you mind your own damn business. When I get my fries, I don't ask you how you get yours. And if you're one of those people... actually, you know what? Let's talk about fries. Who do you think has the best fries, Spencer? Who has the fry game on point in the U.S.? There's always...
Fry game on point?
Like, fry game on point. I would have to say Checkers or Rallies for me. Listen.
Yeah, but not a lot of people know about that. That's just because people live in Louisiana.
True. I mean, they're spread out. But guys, listen, if you... Spencer's going to say his. But if you ever pass a Checkers or a Rallies, do yourself a favor... Get you $1 All-American cheeseburger and a loaded fry, and you will not regret it. Their fries are all crisp. There's never a soggy fry. I've never had one, and I've had Checkers for years.
No, really, you haven't, and it's the best seasoning you'll probably ever have in your life.
They're just cooked so well, dude. And they always, you can get an extra fry levers, and it's literally a bucket of fries, and it's beautiful. It's just diabetes wrapped in a little plastic can, and it's beautiful. But... Who would you say has the best fry game?
Man, I'd have to say In-N-Out is pretty damn good.
I've never had In-N-Out.
It's
It's more
I
of
mean,
the East Coast, isn't
people
it?
in the West will
Or
definitely
is it
know
the
about it.
West?
No, they don't have any on the East Coast.
Then it's the West Coast. Okay.
Yeah, people on the West Coast for sure. They know, it's fantastic. I had it in Texas, but you can watch them make it. Like you watch them soak the potatoes, cut them up, fry them up. It's amazing.
Listen, I can already hear it in the comments, even if no one leaves one, but I can hear it festering like a boil. Five Guys does not have the best fries. I want you to know that. And I know someone's going to be pissed. And someone's going to have a comment.
No.
Listen, Five Guys, their fries are always soggy. I don't care that they have big sacks of potatoes and peanuts everywhere. I don't give a shit. Their Cajun fries are overly seasoned and they're not enough flavor. It's like someone threw a bunch of Tonys and paprika and jizzed on it. That's how it feels. And I'm not a big fan. I would much rather have a good crispy fry than 8 soggy fries. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's not. They're not. They're not where it's at. Let me tell you.
They're nasty. And you know what though? Like they make good burgers, but I don't like their fries. Even their milkshakes are pretty good. I've had a few, but like, dude. But I'll tell you what, Chick-fil-A, I like their waffle fries, but Arby's. I don't like Arby's a lot anymore. Always gets me sick. But Arby's had killer fries. The spirals.
Yeah, they do have some pretty good
They have
fries,
some
man.
good fries, and it's weird because like, man, I don't know if it's just the Arby's we live near or what, but like every time I've had them, my stomach decides to kill itself about halfway through the meal, and I just can't. I just can't do it, and it sucks because I'm like, man, I just bought this beef and cheddar I was munching down on, and now I can't even eat it. But fries, one of the easiest things to do. Just go get yourself some potatoes, throw them in water after you cut them up and clean them. Let them sit for like 30-40 minutes, and then just, if you have a fryer, if you do not have a fryer or an air fryer, do not attempt to just throw oil in a skillet and turn that bitch on and be like, alright, I can fry shit. I'm gonna tell you right now, if you do not know what you're doing, please, for God's sake, that's how you get burned, burn a house down, or start a fucking issue in your family for the rest of your life. Don't do it. Just don't. Leave it to the professional.
Yeah, you're gonna want to
fry
listen to Aaron on
makers.
this one. Don't do it, man.
Dude, do you know how many times, like, it's not even fries, though. Anytime you're trying to fry something and you don't have a fryer or an air fryer, don't fucking do it unless you know you're outside. Because I tried to make, I had tempura on some chicken. I was making some chicken, and I had that oil going about 350, and even I've been cooking for a while, and it just steamed up my entire fucking apartment. Because I was hoping the ventilation system would work, but it didn't. Because it's not a professional kitchen, and I'm kind of stupid sometimes. But just don't risk your health over your hunger. Unless you haven't eaten in like 3 days. Then you might want to fight somebody. You might fight those 2 kids in a trench coat or that little person. But I'm going to tell you either way, those 2 kids are going to whoop your ass. Because they want those fries just as bad as you want them. Just letting you know. But
Yeah, don't play with those kids because you don't know who they are. It could be Stallone. It could be the Rocky, but you're not gonna know because he's holding up on the bottom, and all you really hear is, and that's it. You know he's hiding in there. You're not gonna know.
You're just gonna be waiting for Adrian. The thing is, Adrian ain't coming up. You're just gonna get bopped in the nuts by 2 kids, and it's gonna hurt a lot more than you thought. You're going to be crying in the corner, but there's no bell. No one's tapping for you.
And, more of the story. If you can get your stinky little hands on some potatoes, go get them.
Listen,
go talk to your local drug dealer. Go talk to your mom. She probably has some.
Crusty fingernails can whip up a little batch of potatoes. Go snatch them. Go make a deal with the goblin under the bridge and go get you some potatoes. Or you can go to Walmart, like, any average human, or you can be the cool guy and go to a local farmer's market and buy some fucking potatoes. Because that shit always, dude, okay. Cooking, like if you're making something really fresh, local farmer's markets always have the best products. And I know you hear that, but they really do. And they have the best prices generally because they're trying to get rid of it at a mass-produced sale. And the product is either not going to be, what's the word? Like, I would say pasteurized, but that's from milk and any kind of liquid that's bacteria. But They don't pump
What?
GMOs and shit in it, so it's
Organic?
well, yeah, it's organic. It's not preserved or anything.
Everything's
So
organic.
it's gonna have a fresher life and it's gonna taste better, dude. I can tell you that for a fact. I made it's probably like oh god, it's probably a month ago now. I've been lazy. I haven't cooked in a second, but I was making some roast and I went by the farmer's market and I got some bell peppers and shit. I got my potatoes, I got an onion, I got everything fresh other than the meat that I had to go by Walmart for because the butchery can lick my nuts for the price they wanted for that rump roast. I'm not
Oh
paying
my
them.
lord.
I'm not paying them $30 for it. I'm a big boy, but that wasn't meant for all me. And you know what? I ate on the roast that I paid $20 for. I ate on it for 3 days. So fuck you, butcher. If you ever see this, don't find me, please. I don't want to die.
Please don't
Please.
interrogate Aaron with your fucking pork chops.
Please. My chat's
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you this. If you want to ruin your outlook on food, go ahead and pick up this book. It's by Michael Pollan. Some people might know him. It's called the Omnivore's Dilemma. So, essentially, he's talking about. He breaks it down 3 parts, right? He breaks it down from the beginning to present day of how food is produced, how it's grown.
Just the process in which things are done, or in what way?
Yeah, and the way that he breaks down in the book, the first section of the 3 is modern day production of food, and then he slowly goes into like the organic category and then growing it by hand. But you'll find out organic and non-organic, GMO, whatever you want to call it, they're not that different. When you're scaling up organic, it basically turns into mass production because that's exactly what it is.
Well, that's the case. Anything, whenever it starts that way, it's going to be mass production. And I know some people don't realize that. They're like, but it's organic. But the thing is, whenever you have that much quantity being organic, it's being a mass production. It's becoming the same thing. And
yeah.
Like
you're just paying more for it. It's got the same pesticides.
It just has a cool little title on it, but you're getting the same shit. And it's not always like that. Sometimes you get a genuine good product that's not full of chemicals. But whenever you go to like an actual market and they have all these booth setups and shit, ask them questions. Try to understand where your food's coming from. Because despite what you think, even though you eat a cheeseburger because you're hungry, that's not the best option for you. As a human, I know it's really convenient, and I can't make an excuse because I'm eating wings from Chili's right now. But like, I know, despite me being a hypocrite, that
Aaron's eating at least 7 birds right now, collectively.
I'm trying,
and just the wings.
I had to talk to them, and they said that I could get 8, but I'd have to catch that 8th bird myself. And you know what? That son of a bitch is gonna die. I will get that chicken. I want them thighs, boy. But it's just, I want them juicy, thick thighs, boy. But it's just like, it's kind of wild. Because, I mean, mass production of anything, whether it's technology, food, toys, lineup, any kind of fucking product launch, you're getting the same product at a cheaper, not a cheaper price, but a less quality, because anything mass produced is going to be the same, but they don't necessarily put the same work into it. And that's a lot of things people don't realize. Like, the reason you pay $1 at McDonald's is because that thing's been sitting in a fucking freezer for a week and a half since they got the meat, and they throw it on a grill for about 2 minutes, flip it over, it's cooked, and they put it on a bun, and that's it. Versus going out somewhere that has to get their beef in and then make the patties. And like, I've had plenty of experiences where we'll get whole pieces of beef and everything, and we have to grind it ourselves and fucking make sausage, or we have to make the burger, we have to make any kind of product we're making from actual fresh cut meat. And granted, that's gonna be more expensive depending on where you go and what you get. Well, I mean, if you end up making your own meat, that's even cooler. But anything with better quality, you're gonna pay more for it. So you can't necessarily be upset with the price tag of a burger being like $12 if that's all fresh, and they make the bun and they put the cheese on it and they're giving you the best quality ingredients that they can get. A price difference is determined by the market, but if you're getting a good product, then you really have no room to complain. But not that that is anything.
No, there's definitely a lot of people that do it.
Well, it's a skill,
Yeah.
and it's a trait like anything. Like my brother, fucking, he isn't a barber yet, but my grandfather was a barber, and my brother's gonna become one. He's gonna go to school, but he understands how to cut hair. He understands the trade. He understands that people want their hair done a certain way. He understands how to cut the hair, how to line it up, how to make the corners right, make sure everything's not too over length to where it's doing. But that's a trait that you learn. And whether you're a barber, a cook, a blacksmith, a mason, a carpenter, anything, you learn your trade and you become decent at it. And that's the reason you can put a price tag on what you do, what you make. And some people are going to say, well, anybody can cook. Anybody can cook, but to actually make a decent product is a whole other fucking story.
Yeah, I mean, the I don't know. I mean, we both live in two different states. So for those who don't know, I don't think we've mentioned that, but we both grew up in the same state. Yeah, man. Fucking useless country for life. There's, especially where I'm living now, there's not that many places that are, family owned, operated. They sell their own stuff. They grow their own vegetables, sell their own meat. Yeah. And, the more and more that we're just pumping money into these huge corporations, pumping money into mass production, even though, yes, it's convenient. Yes, it may or may not have a betterment on a society. I mean, it's probably just a pitch that they're, giving to you. We're going to start losing them more and more. Take the advice from that good old show South Park. They did an episode about it a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's not a great thing. It's definitely not natural for us, but it's what defines us as a first world country.
Definitely. And and I get that it's easier and all that, but the thing is, if you want to better yourself, not to say like, oh, this is going to improve your life, any step you take to like cutting out fast food, that's so much better for you. Even if you're eating sandwiches, your body is not processing all those chemicals that you're getting from something that's been frozen in that. And granted, I mean, shit, your lunch meat may be preserved, but you're getting it cheaper anyway. If you have sandwiches every day instead of a fucking burger, spend $3 something on a loaf of bread, $4 something on a fucking pack of meat, and then if you want cheese or a condiment, that's all you. But basically, you're spending $12 to feed yourself for over a week and a half, if not, depending on what size loaf you get, versus going every day and spending $1, because your ass isn't spending $1. You're buying a burger or two, or chicken nuggets, or you're getting a Coke and some fries. By the time you get done with your fucking order, you spent $6. And to do that every day, you're literally depriving yourself of money and making some kind of profit. Not that you're generating anything out of it, but you're saving money. And that's what people don't realize. It may be easy on convenience, but on your wallet, it's even harder. And it's just like let me challenge somebody. If anybody ever decides to put this in their ear holes, thank you, by the way. And bless the mess! But just literally find you a recipe you like and look it up on YouTube. And then watch someone make it. And I cannot preach this enough. Whenever you were cooking, do anything you're doing. If you have to cut vegetables in a certain way, don't start cooking your shit and then start chopping your vegetables, because you're a fucking idiot. You do your mise en place, that way you have it in order. If I need to make something and I know I'm going to have to make a mixture, I preemptively make the mixture and then I do my veggies. And then whenever I cook them or whatever I'm doing with them, blending them, I then put it all on at the same time and I cook the meat. If you start 8 different projects, you're going to finish at 8 different times. But if you start one project and break it up into 8 parts and get it all done, you come out with one result that comes out cleaner than a half-slopped mess that you try to put together because you were in a rush. And your food's going to taste better, despite what you think. You may think it won't make a difference. It really does.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to take anything away from this shit show of a conversation, pick up a recipe book, pick up something, learn how to cook for yourself, because you never know, the world might just go in the shitter soon, so you might even know how to
It's a whole
cook
other
something.
thing. You know how many people don't know how to cook today? It's kind of wild. that people don't know how to
Well,
cook.
now they have services that send you everything that you need to cook, and then they explain
And
it to
I
you like a
mean,
big dummy.
some of those are nice, and it's kind of wild, but like at the same time, how do you? I don't get how people can't be interested in learning how to feed themselves, because the one thing we do other than shitting and sleeping is literally eating as humans. And you would think someone would want to be like, that looks really fucking good. I want that. So I'm gonna learn how to make it. But instead, they fucking chill and they're like, I'm gonna get a Big Mac and a order of fries. And do y'all have the slushies on today? And then some lady on the intercom goes, oh, what? I'll just take an apple pie. And that's it. And it's like, okay, well, go fuck yourself, and you're the reason that this country's gonna fail. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's how 95% of the orders go.
I'm gonna do. Look, I'm gonna type this in so y'all can witness it. What percentage AG of the US?
Man, I want to say that 75% of America is obese.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It's just like, it kind of blows my mind. And by the way, the fact that I spelled percentage wrong, I don't give a cent. I did spell it wrong like a retard though. I need a C in there. I forgot the C. And let's take away that T right there. There we go. 42%. That's above a quarter. That may not, and that was in 2017-18.
Oh yeah. Make that 60.
So it's got to be 60 now, especially with COVID. And everybody fucking say, what is the percentage of fat in 2020? No, it can't be the same. There's no way it stayed the same. Look, it has increased. Okay, the national adult obesity rate has increased by 26% since 2008. And that was the period like everybody was supersizing shit. And we stopped that. How are we still getting fat, guys? I don't know how many chicken nuggets we gotta eat to prove that we can do a challenge, but let's not. How about we start restricting people to a limited amount of food they can eat? And you know what? I may be pissed about it, and I sound like a hypocrite, but I agree with it. I think if we put a certain limitation, and that sounds like communism in a way, but, you know, maybe Stalin had
Aaron's
it right for a
endorsing your
second.
Guantanamo Bay.
Just a little
He's starting to rob your job.
Me and Max's had a plan. But regardless, it's just kind of like, not to say set a limitation, because I guess that does put some kind of damper, but people are gluttonous. And that's not being rude. That's not trying to be mean towards anybody. We don't know when to stop, and that's as humans. The reason we strive to do things or innovate ourselves or go is because we try to go further. And unfortunately, some of us don't try to better ourselves. We try to eat our depression away, and it doesn't work the way it should. You should be, if you're upset, talk it out. Find something. Don't stuff your face with food. It's not healthy, and it doesn't build anything good. And for the people who are underweight, which rarely get mentioned because everybody always talks about the overweight people, I'm sorry if you're underweight. I know it's a struggle. I have a family dealing with it. Unfortunately, I was born a big boy, so I'm not really, ever worried about being underweight. I would love to be for once. Not that that's a good thing, but it's just, I get it. And it's never going to be easy. And I know sometimes people are going to tell you that, like, you just need to eat, and sometimes you cannot eat because it makes you sick. And I get that. But do what you have to do to help your body, because at the end of the day, you're your own person and there's no one else trying to help you. You may have family and stuff, but the person who cares about you the most is generally you, because you're yourself. And that may be redundant, but it's fucking true.
Okay, I mean, if you guys want to have a different outlook on food, go and watch this interview of Yeonmi Park. She's a North Korea survivor, and I mean, there's plenty of interviews with her in them, but she tells her story, and it's just fucking dreadful. And, like, you wouldn't wish that on anybody. It's modern day concentration camps. It's everything like that. But they talk about how, I mean, she's talking about how she's not thinking of freedom. She's not thinking of what love is. She's not thinking about life. The only thing she's thinking about is just like a bowl of rice, really. And for us to be able to have a serious problem with weight should put some
Perspective
form
on
of perspective in your life.
how gluttonous we are. The fact that we get upset that we didn't get fries with our chicken wings that we paid for. Hashtag relatable.
Yeah,
But
I don't necessarily put it. I mean, hey, you might be able to put it on the lower bar of society in America, but I would really put it on the people that had an idea a long time ago, and they had really good intentions, and then it just got grabbed by the wrong people, and it turned into this horrible thing that we have today.
that's
Which,
anything
I mean, it's a lot of things.
like, have you ever seen The Founder?
Eugenics.
Eugenics. Okay. I don't know if any of y'all have ever seen The Founder. Spencer, have you ever seen The Founder?
The Founder?
Yeah, it's about McDonald's. And
Oh yeah. No, I haven't seen that one.
that's a good fucking movie because it's a true story. Just the fact that like McDonald's wasn't meant to be. I mean, of course they were gonna expand, but it didn't have the same vision that it did with the motherfucker. What's this guy's name? Because he kind of pissed me off in the movie. He's played by a great actor too. But
I know. I'm trying to think of his name. I don't remember.
I'm gonna be upset with myself the second I see his name in a second. It's Michael Keaton. He was Batman. That's exactly who it was. I feel like a dickhead. But what is this man? Oh, okay, Ray Kroc. So Ray Kroc comes in and sees what McDonald's is, and he ends up rebranding it and all this shit. But basically, these two brothers have this brilliant system in their food, and they're putting good quality food out there. And not to say that,
man, they're the Henry Fords of the fast food industry.
Yeah. And,
they create the assembly line.
Yeah, and that's the crazy part. It's like the fact of an assembly line is beautiful in itself because it's a machine that has people, but yet we can function and get things out so fast, and that's how it should be. But at the same time, you lose a little bit of that. What would you say? Not the flair. I want to be more like educated with my words. You lose the craft,
integrity.
You lose the integrity of the product whenever you sit there and mass produce it. That's anything, but I already said that. Anything you make, but technically, I guess he didn't steal McDonald's. He just kind of fucked them over like assholes. But Ray Kroc ended up basically taking away these people's dream and everything and making it into a multi-billion-dollar company, if not trillion. And it's crazy how an American dream is literally ripping off someone else's stuff and using it. But I mean, that's capitalism, is gaining in any way you can. That way you're the successful one. Not that that's the actual definition, but that's how it works.
I like capitalism. But yeah, if you guys
Marx had a different idea. We could have been sharing loaves of bread.
I mean, okay, look, if you guys support communism in any way, whatever, that's your opinion. But I would say look into the history of it. Marx's ideas, they weren't what they are today in any way, shape, or form. They were inherited by Mao.
Them and twisted them and literally formed it into because I remember I had to do a fucking report in college on Marx's. Because I was talking about him. Not to say he had, like, the best of intentions. Is it M-I-X? Yes. What was his last name? I always forget.
Who?
Maxis.
Maxis?
I can't spell. I was talking about how illiterate I am. It's kind of true, guys.
Who's Maxis?
Hold on.
You're talking about Marx?
Marx, I'm fucking stupid.
Karl Marx.
Listen, the fact that you could get anything out of that, thank you. But it still applies regardless that his name is different from what I said. Is this
yeah, man.
God, dude.
Karl Marx wrote about capitalism.
Yeah, that's okay. But this man, this boy right here, this German philosopher, historian, sociologist, political theorist, journalist, and social revolutionist, and economist, or economic, even though that's not what that says, and I'm not going to attempt to say it again, so fuck you if you have a comment. But But
For those of you that believe that Karl Marx invented communism, no, that's not true.
he
He in
didn't.
high school, I believe, or in college, he joined the Communist Party. It was very
Yeah,
small at the time,
and
but he just catapulted it.
he just had certain ideas and principles that were very good, but they were taken and used in the wrong manner. And the thing is
They
like
don't work on like a
they
societal
don't,
scale at
they
all.
don't, and it's
Just least
unfortunate because any kind of communism they've tried to do ends up failing. And like I get that there's different types of government. There's ways to lead your people. I think it is bad for anybody to ration out or tell people what they can and can't have. I think that takes away, but that's what makes America different from, I'd say, 30 to 40% of the world, is that we're a first world country and we kind of don't really have those issues often that we don't see. We're always having issues. People just refuse to acknowledge them half the time. But,
Yeah,
and
I mean,
that's globally. But,
I've been holding on to this idea for a little while. I've always thought, because recently I got into a lot of stuff about governments, a lot of ways
potatoes.
that, potatoes?
Potatoes. Sorry.
Yes, potatoes.
Potatoes.
Just the psychology that all of these philosophers have developed to be able to rule people. There's monarchs, there's capitalism, there's socialism, there's everything. There's democracy, there's republics. But today, especially in America, people are striving for this utopian society, and it doesn't exist. It's never going to exist, and
It won't.
you don't want it. I promise.
Here's the thing.
It's
Whenever
not
we
a
have a
thing.
utopian society, it literally cuts on the freedoms that you don't realize is the thing. Because to limit any kind of anything that's going to be technically peaceful, you have to cut things. Regardless of what people think, and that we're all going to live in harmony and hold hands and do the cha-cha. If you want that kind of world, unfortunately, it's either going to come through military action or it's going to come through such a massive crisis that the population is going to be so restricted that a utopia is going to be able to be a thing. The thing is, once that happens, you're not allowed to have any kind of freedom that you thought you were going to have. You will be restricted to what you're allowed to do and what's going to happen, but it's going to be a utopian society. It's just how it works.
Yeah, man. That's human psychology for you. If you want to educate yourself,
It's a catch-22.
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and read Ernest Becker. He has a few different books. One is The Denial of Death, and in that one, I think he takes this idea from Freud, but he basically says, even when children are born as babies, humans are just innately narcissistic.
Oh, yeah.
They strive for some form of power. So utopianism, it doesn't work because we're not built for it. We're just not.
We're not. As humans, we are not. It won't be a functional thing unless we cave into, and I hate to say it, like a socialist regime or anything like that. But that's at the point where the only way it becomes a utopian is because no one gets to make a comment but one. And it's ran in a way that is considered beneficial for... I could keep going. But I mean, like, in general, though... I love saying this because I know somebody's going to be like, what? The worst part of humanity is the humans. As a culture, or as people, as the whole society, because we intentionally build castles for them to fall, and then we look for somebody to blame or something to blame them on. And even if our architecture is built perfectly, even if our foundations are fantastic, even if we build the walls with reinforcements and pillars, you cannot stop change, and you cannot stop inevitability. And some people are going to take that as, oh, well, change is for the good. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes the change ends up destroying an entire civilization. I don't know if you've heard of Pompeii, but they weren't a big fan of the change coming from the volcano, and it kind of killed them all. I don't know if you've ever seen, the highway of death in fucking Russia that Stalin had built. There was changes coming. It really paved the way for their life, just burying the road of bones and fucking blood. Regardless of what we want to set up and what ideas we have that are great in theory, practicality, humans always end up finding a way to literally jinx themselves. And it's mainly because we think we're going to be immortal, and we're not. We're not built to be immortal. And I know I said that earlier, but just like he was saying about the denial of death, human nature, you cannot run from it. You can't fight it. You can't reason with it. You can't ask for it to stop. I know this. I've had family die, and I've asked, why is it like this? But the thing is, nature doesn't give a fuck about you. Nature is gonna do the same thing it's always done. It's gonna prevail, and regardless if humans are on this earth or not, it's gonna live. And that's what's my man David Attenborough. My man Spencer knows about Mr. Attenborough. He made a documentary on Netflix. He has plenty of them. He's the man who does the voice for it's not Animal Planet. It's on Animal Planet, but it's what's it called?
Planet Earth.
Planet Earth. That's the one. But
Yeah.
he does the voice. But the thing is, what a lot of people don't realize is David Attenborough. He doesn't just do the voice. That man filmed that entire series. That's his. And the crazy part is, like, he was born when the population was 2 billion on this earth in like 1930 something. And what's crazy is he got to see the population quadruple to the amount that it's at. And on top of that, he was able to actually go see, because he was born when commercial aircraft was becoming a thing. So he was able to go visit these indigenous regions and go see these tribes and see these animals. We don't have like half the fucking rainforest we had 100 years ago. You know why? Because people seem to ruin it. They cut them down. They build objects. They destroy ecosystems, and they take out everything in their way for the path of a better future or humanity or something. What people don't realize, and I may be just carrying on. I'm sorry if I'm talking over anything you want to say, Spencer, but it's just like, we're animals. I know at the end of the day, we're humans, and we have a different name for ourselves, and it's cool and stuff, but like, what people don't realize is we're sharing this earth with the creatures on it and the ecosystem that's in it. And for us to interject and destroy an entire system, whether it be a species or a type of fucking well, that would be a species too. I was gonna say a type of tree, but that would literally be a species of. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
If anything we interject ourselves to, like this man right here who says my wife died of curry, and he's looking at the fucking sky, because I know you guys have been seeing this man's eyeballs for like a hot minute. Regardless, we're the problem. And I know that's the worst thing to say, and I sound like a narcissist in a way, and I sound like I'm saying something evil, but like, it's true. It's true. We cause our own fall. Not intentionally, but we cause our own demise. And it's just kind of, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I don't know.
But I'm not a doctor.
I don't know how. I'm not a doctor. I don't know how hippie you guys are or anything like that. But if anybody that's struggling with, all of these idealisms floating throughout the news recently or whatever, or just throughout history, you have problems with certain ideas, or you have problems with the way people went about things. Take a word from Buddhists. You don't have to practice it. You need to know one phrase, and really that's the yin and yang. That's living your life in balance. And for every evil, there's a good. So whatever you think is horrible and dreadful, go look at something good. Go look at something beautiful, because that is exactly what we're here for on Earth, is to observe both of those two things at the same time.
If heaven is on Earth, if it's a place on Earth, dude, it's enjoying the little moments that people don't even think about. Like, me and my man Froggy McGee over here, we went to a concert recently. Like, the concert was sick. It was so nice to be out with people. But on the way back home, I was with Spencer. We were fucking driving in the car, and we were just looking at this mountain range next to us. And from where we were from, everything's flat. And I've lived in the state I'm in for about 4 years now, and it has mountains, but just the way it looked with the sun coming off of the fucking mountains and the clouds rolling, and just, there's natural beauty in this world that you can't put words on or explain, but it's beautiful. It gives you a sense of the world is bigger than me. I know it's about me, but I have to realize that life is about living it and not about sitting behind a fucking desk or being upset with an argument you had a minute ago with your spouse, or being upset because the fucking person didn't give you fries and your wings. It's about enjoying the little moments because we're not given a tomorrow for sure. So we might as well be happy with what we have. And if you're not happy with what you have, do something with your life. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, try to find an outlet. Find something you like. Talk to people. Ask people questions. There's never a dumb question. And I know some people think that's not true. There's dumb statements. There's not dumb questions. The way you ask something is a whole different topic. But if you want to know something or you're curious, just ask. Go to the library. Do some research if you don't have a computer or books. Fucking do your research, figure out what you like, and then go from there. Because you might as well enjoy it.
Yeah, man. That's
Yeah.
that's everything. That's everything to it, really. I mean, Aaron, me and Aaron, we've had a pretty good go at it from life,
No kidding.
and it seems like we've both come to the same conclusions. And if anybody else is, going through something or whatever, take a little snippet of that with you.
Page out of our books.
Just think about it. Yeah, because we're both scientists.
Listen here, I have my degree. I printed it off the internet just like
I have a
the other
doctorate.
guy.
I went to school for 75 years.
Listen, you see that helicopter? It's called a Skippy. Skip. And that's a joke from Tom Segura, in case anybody has a fucking comment about, you didn't make that joke. And I know I didn't make that joke. It's a funny fucking joke, so I'm gonna say it. And heads up to Tom Segura, you make great material. Just want you to know that. And I hope Mike Tyson hears this too, because he's a cool-ass guy. And he's kind of terrifying in a way. He's a big man with a big demeanor. And I mean all the respect in the world and all the love. Do you want?
I don't think I have enough love to give to him, but
I'll try.
I give a lot.
I give all the love that I got. Do you want to do another question, or what you thinking? We're at.
Well, hey, we're running on about 2 hours here, so
We're on an hour.
I think that's pretty good useful for him.
We're on an hour and 37 minutes. Oh fucking.
152.
Well, I paused it.
On my end.
Yeah, so we want to talk about the ancient humans question.
You lying son of a bitch! I thought we were gonna talk about serial killers.
Yeah, we're gonna
Now, guys, I'm gonna. It doesn't matter. Look, we're gonna do both questions, but leave your comment, even though it's not relevant in real time, whether or not we're gonna do which one first. But we're gonna go with Spencer's.
We're gonna go with the ancient humans. All right. So let me pickle your brain with this real quick.
Go for it, my guy.
Anybody that's Christian, anybody that's heard, the tales of ancient people in Christianity that lived to be like fucking 900 years old, whatever. I was thinking about this the other day. When you think about animals, or specifically mammals, that live very prolonged lives, they have babies, very spaced apart, and their gestation period is very long. Like, it's way longer than humans. And, I mean, we fall in that category. So if
Okay.
back then... Huh? Oh, you found it? Okay.
Yeah.
If back then we lived to be, say 900 years old, we would have a gestation period, meaning we would stay in the womb for years, or like a year, or whatever it is. I don't know. And we would probably be fertile later in our lives. And there's never any mention of this in the Bible, as far as I'm concerned or aware of. It's just it's a weird thought. I don't know. I don't even know if that's true, really, about people living that long. But it's just a weird little thing.
It was one of them lived to be like the oldest man of the Bible. And I can't remember.
Was it Job?
It might.
I don't know.
It definitely. I think it was Job. You're probably actually spot on. But I have this big machine in front of me that I can type this in, because
I got you. Oh, look. First thing that popped up. My computer's listening to me. Oh, it was
Methuselah.
Methuselah. Oh, yeah, Methuselah.
Methuselah.
He was addicted. He lived to be 969 years old. So, I mean, he might have been holding the baby for a little while, but I don't know.
Holding that baby. And you know, there's a lot of things, and this is because I was raised Christian. I was raised Pentecostal. And not to say I have any kind of grasp on the Bible or I know anything or anything like that. What I was told is, and that's, I do, like, that makes me curious out of human curiosity. Because, like, as a gestation period, like Spencer was saying, the human body only lasts, like, 80 years. And that's on a good person. That's, like... That's
well-oiled
machine. Someone who's been lubing up their bones every time they went for a walk, because I haven't. My fucking bones crack every time I take a step and it hurts me. And I'm 22.
I'm made of glass. Yeah.
Listen, I scream in agony every day I live. But it's just like, it's kind of wild, because, and that's what, I don't know, and this is, I have so many opinions about things, dude, but, and you know, some of them are opinions. They're like assholes. Everybody's got one. Doesn't mean they're right. But it's just like, I definitely don't think he lived to be 900 years old. If he did, that's fucking crazy. And why are we dying this young? I don't get it. But
we're sinners.
I guess, bro. I mean, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but maybe just a little bit. But like, that is wild. And that does beg the question, and Spencer does have a point, like, if we're supposed to live like that, there should be a longer period for a woman to conceive back then. And then on top of that, for, like, just fertilization, like, what is the age people hit puberty and shit? Like, they start fucking at 300? Or what's, like...
Yeah, I don't know. That whacks out our biology.
That's
you
what...
know?
And I don't know if... And because I was raised, I want to believe all of it's true. I want to believe every bit of Christianity that I've been told in the Bible and stuff. But I sometimes think... man, can I even... I'm gonna say it because I don't give a shit. I think that, you know, some things are like, they're not oversaturated. What's the word? Where, like, they fucking...
They're cliche?
No, well, cliche is cliche, my boy.
Touche.
Oh, chanté. No, but it's just like, where you elaborate, or embellish. I think embellish is the word. Where you make a story.
There's a lot of embellishment.
And I, you know, if you can hear that, that's me trying to get some crumbles out of my keyboard.
It's very pertinent right now. We got to do that.
It was just, I saw it, and I got the lights coming through, and I'm OCD, but I'm lazy, so, like, I don't know, I jumped on it like a fucking cat. But it's, you know, I think, and not to, like, specifically point out the Bible, I think people may have lived for longer periods back then, but at the same time, if we've come so far as a people, and we've beaten these diseases and all this, technically shouldn't we be living longer now than they did back then? And that's just, like, out of me thinking in, like, an actual biological way. Because the human body would technically only improve, right? We could only adapt or overcome. So for us to literally go backwards and cut off, like, 900 years of our life and be down to whatever we're at now, I want to know what sin we committed or who or what. I want to know why now, whenever I walk up 3 flights of stairs every day to get to my apartment, I take a second and go, I fucking hate myself. And then I walk in the door every time because it's awful. I can hear the little bones in my body crack, and I can feel the muscles in my joints giving out slowly every time I take a step. And I'm just kind of waiting for that day that I take a step and my foot goes, and, like, it caves inward, and I tumble down those stairs. That's what I'm waiting for.
I don't know, man. I mean, I would say, like, it definitely doesn't make sense that we're devolving in that sense. If you take that as gospel, pun intended.
Shut the fuck up.
I don't. I'm not too sure, but I do know, like, we do have observable evolution. So we have vestigial organs. We have, like, such as your appendix. We have vestigial, you know, things on our body, like body hair.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we don't necessarily need anymore that we used to need. And
Right. But it also leads us back to the conversation that we were having earlier. We're basically poisoning ourselves.
oh yeah, dude.
And that's been going on for a while.
That's ever since humans discovered they could do anything they put their mind to, they've kind of been fucking themselves. And unfortunately, whether or not that's deciding that everybody gets the right to fuck someone and poop out like 8 kids and then put them in the system and they gotta deal with that shit and then their 8 kids have 8 kids apiece, fuck you. But
it's not the 50s. No, we can't do that anymore.
and here's that exactly. It's not the 50s anymore. We need to stop. There needs to be, and you know what? And I may be sounding like a sociopath, but I think Japan did it right, dude. 2 people per family, like kids. That's not a bad thing. You're still having.
That's China.
Is it China? Listen, whoever's doing it, they're
up to 3 now, and Chinese people are very upset.
They said you better put that number back down. No, it's just like, but the point is if you look at any country, like India is the most populated fucking country, and it's so small. Why? Just start cutting nut sacks off of people. It's getting ridiculous. Spay the women in the streets. Start a fucking clinic. And for those who say, you can go into any clinic, that's not in the U.S.
No. Texas says,
Texas says 6 weeks, it's staying. But, and regardless, and Zane actually, our roommate, had a great point. Most women don't even know they're having the baby until 8 weeks because they've skipped a whole cycle and they're at the point that they realize it. 6 weeks is like 3/4 the way too, and it fucks them over. And I think it's ridiculous. And that's a whole nother, we can talk about abortions. I really don't want to because I know everyone's got a comment. But
okay, so we can talk about population control. I would say
sorry.
Aaron's snorting coke.
I'm trying.
I would say he mentioned Japan. They don't have the 2 baby limit. China does, but they do have something that is very interesting, and I think it probably should be implemented in the U.S. Even though we are the country of immigrants, they essentially make it very hard for foreigners to live within their country. It takes up to 5 to 10 years, I think, something like that, to get citizenship.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And that's why there's so little Japanese speakers outside of Japan. And they've preserved their culture that way. That's why they're so unique.
That's true, though. It's crazy that, like, you go to Japan and it's Japan. There's nowhere else like it. But, I mean, that's for every country, I guess. But the thing is, I mean, the U.S. is literally it's the country of immigrants. It's a melting pot. It's exactly what Spencer said. And that's a whole another thing we don't even have to talk about, but I'm going to just point it out. Not that Donald Trump's in office anymore, but fuck you if you said anything about any kind of immigration, not specifically towards any Latinos or any kind of race. We're literally all immigrants here. I don't know whether or not you realized it, but the U.S. kind of took this land from Native Americans, and on top of that shit, we kind of took every other piece of land from every other country, and then we established it in the name of God. And I kind of think it's fucked up that we are naming, this country out of this idealistic that, we're supposed to love one another, but whenever it push comes to shove, we're like, don't mind us. We're just going to take all your land and your people. We're going to kind of crumble them into a little corner, and we're going to throw some alcohol that way. That way we can start some kind of shit, and we're going to give you like a quarter little piece of property, and we're just going to be like, fuck you.
Yeah, man. Okay, so I heard this somewhere, and I really don't know like how valid it actually is. But a lot of people, and especially in America, it might be different in different countries because they learn about different countries in a skewed way. But America wasn't started for the reasons that you really think. Yes, it was started for religious persecution or trying to get away from religious persecution, but it was also started to get away from the English army, from the British, I think. And we wanted to start our own army. And to do that, after forming the 13 colonies, we had to unite. And so if you think America was formed for all of these beliefs and
the colonies
values
were started for persecution, freedom. America was started because we were done listening to England. That's what the fuck happened.
Yeah,
You're completely
essentially.
right. It's literally, we were like, well, we don't like what you're saying, so fuck you. We're gonna talk about it, and we'll be back. And then
Those are Texans from the 17th century. Yeah.
listen, they were there. They were in the colonies. They started this revolution for all of us.
Yeah. So if anybody's out there, saying that they don't like immigrants, blah blah blah, whatever. If you're an
You
immigrant,
are an immigrant. Shut the fuck up.
you're an immigrant, no matter what. Unless you're Native American, shut the fuck up.
We're all
But
immigrants
also,
here. No one
Native
owns any
Americans,
land.
not that great.
Yeah, it kind of.
It's a dirty opinion, but they had their own battles too.
Yeah.
They all fought within their own tribes.
That's anything. And people do. Okay, so systematic destructions of a crumbling empire. I think that's a nice little title I just came up with. The way
It's hot.
I see it, that's a hot title, boy. Is like any kind of society that's formed ends up collapsing on itself in some way, and not necessarily because of a natural disaster. That's a nice little excuse, but generally because they fucked themselves. The reason the Soviet Union fell was because it was a fucked institution that was literally killing its own people. And what had happened? It wasn't happening anymore because they fucking took it out themselves. You look back at fucking Rome.
Rome, they got nasty, bro.
They kind of
Like,
got butt fucked aggressively. And you know what? People backstabbed Caesar. You should have fucking stabbed Caesar in the back. His dressing was delicious, and fuck you. But regardless, it's just like the Ottoman Empire ended up collapsing, the Greek Empire ended up collapsing, the Persian Empire ended up collapsing, and people are going to go, well, that's just time moving on and the development of technology and the fact that we were spreading. Yeah, but globalization doesn't make a difference whenever you dickheads everywhere end up killing themselves because they think they know a better way to enlighten themselves, and they take from people, they screw over nations, the nation gets mad, France has had so many fucking revolutions. You know why? Because some dumb cunt sitting in a fucking tower eating cake decided that she knew better than the rest of them. And you know what? She got her head cut off. So, Antoinette, you learned your lesson. Just want you to know. Just said.
Henry did you well.
Listen,
That's all we have to say.
you can have your cake and eat it too, bitch.
I mean, yeah. If you feel some form of division, or if you're watching division go on in the world, just know that this is not the first time that it's happened. And the only thing we can do really is not globalize. No, don't do that. But do be aware of other people's cultures, because it's what makes the world beautiful. It's what made America a long time ago. Even though there was segregation, there was,
there's culture. Everybody came together to share what they know in their people. And that has nothing to do with where you come from is always a big ordeal, but your upbringing and how you keep your culture and preserve it, I think, is more important, because your culture gives you values and ideas in any kind of community that it's in. And it establishes what you should and shouldn't do, not in a point of like you're not allowed to do this, but morally. Like, you shouldn't kill one another. That's a culture thing. Don't do that.
Yes, you get that.
Heads up. No one is born racist. It's made by where you're at and what influences you have in your life. Humans do not naturally just don't like each other. Maybe if you're 40 years old and you're sent to a country and you've never seen anybody like that before and it's 1432, maybe, because you can't process a damn thing. You're stupid. But it's 2021, dude. Who gives a shit what you look like? We're all on this earth to just go back into it at one point. Stop being a dickhead and give someone a hug, okay?
Yeah, I mean, me and Aaron both grew up in relatively the same area. Like, we both kind of saw what life was like around us. And recently I've been being around, a different culture, being around different people. And I really would like to know the percentage of this, but you're never going to get it out of people's heads. I would like to know, what percentage of racism is based off of the color of people's skin, and what percentage of racism is based off the judgment of people's character, the judgment of the way people act.
See, and that's crazy to me. You'll never get a realistic number, but I do agree with that. Because, like, if I don't judge somebody by what they look like. I mean, of course, everybody's gonna make a comment, not in a way.
If you have a crooked eye, I hate you.
If you get a limp, get the fuck back in line. But just the fact that, listen, everybody's gonna have physical deformities. If you don't, heads up, 7-Up, give a high five to your brethren that don't. You know, it's all cool to have all 10 toes and fingers, but some of us don't, and it sucks dick. But you judge someone on their character. You don't judge somebody on their appearance. Unless they're a fucking piece of shit and they decided not to bathe themselves for a week because they're upset. Fuck you. Go take a shower, you pig.
Yeah, that's no bueno.
You're
You can't do that.
You're not allowed to do that anymore. The Black Plague's gone. We don't do that, okay? Go get some fucking Dove and rub it on your body.
No stinky little slugs in my culture.
Listen,
none of that.
Get the washcloth, because we're going on the places that you didn't want to go. Now get in the damn tub. Fucking wiping stains out of ass cracks and nations alike.
Yeah, so, hey, if you guys actually listen to this, if you actually like it, we're going to be doing more. We're going to be having, we're going to be pumping out a logo pretty soon. We're going to be pumping out little title cards for the episodes, so you guys have something to look at while you're listening to absolute horseshit. And it'll be fun. We might be making some music for it pretty soon.
Just a somber piano in the background the whole time. And
while we're yelling about hangnails, you're going to be hearing Mozart.
Hangnails? I fucking hate hangnails, dude. They're the worst. But anyway, no. But thank you for anybody who listens. And if you don't listen, it's because you're not listening, so I don't really care about that. But hey, do you like it? Tell a friend. Because I'm only a little impaired. Kind of slightly impaired.
Yeah, slightly. Just like 5 millimeters of impairment.
Just enough to get a parking pass. Good night to all.